So you were on stage, doing your set, your comedic set,
right?
And when you finished, Tony came up next, and you're saying immediately afterwards he started saying racist stuff towards Asians targeted at you.
Well, yeah, the first thing he said, I think, I gave him an intro. He walked up on stage. We shook hands, and then he grabbed the mic. He goes, "Hey, how about one more time for this filthy fucking chink?"
Lucky Boys Podcast.
Welcome to Lucky Boys Podcast. I'm Will, and I have Josh here replacing Norman for today. Shout out to you, Norm. He's out in Florida home shopping with his family, a little vacation. And we have a special guest, Peng.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Now, I first heard of you when you went viral online.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's where most of us here heard of you. Unfortunately, in that way. But I was like, man, I wonder what it was like for you in that moment.
Well, talking about that night,
yes.
I didn't know. First of all, going into the show, I didn't know he was gonna be there. Like I was already booked on the show, and he was not in the lineup, right? But then, right before the show, they told me, hey, Tony's gonna be here. Maybe Joe Rogan will be here. But just watch out, they might be here. I was like, I'm pretty excited.
Wait, they said watch out, they might be here in a positive way.
In a positive way,
because Tony's a big deal in the comedy world, right?
Well, Joe Rogan is. I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he's a pretty big deal in Austin. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I knew I had to prepare. Yeah, and then right before I went up, they were like, the host told me, hey, you're gonna bring up Tony Hinchcliffe, he's here. So yeah, I did my set, did my job, gave him a warm intro.
He went up after you.
Right.
Okay.
I said nothing bad about him, and he just went off on me for no reason, right? And it actually was kind of scary because I can hear people laughing. I'm like, how the hell you're laughing at that? That's not acceptable. And it kind of makes you feel like unsafe because you're in a room full of this crowd who's like, I don't know, just we're laughing at racist stuff. And I don't think, I didn't like it at all. I just like left the room.
Did you feel like you were in trouble? Or was it just a discomfort?
It's discomfort. I felt sick in the stomach, and I just like left the room. I went outside to smoke. My friends were pissed off too, and then we came back inside. Stayed till the end of the show. He didn't come up and talk to me.
Tony didn't say anything?
No, he didn't say anything. Nobody else said anything. It's like nothing happened. They act like nothing happened, right? But I don't think that was normal. Yeah.
Okay. Now, for people, just to give people some context as jumping into this for the first time, they may not have heard of what went on.
Right.
So you were on stage, doing your set, your comedic set.
Right.
And when you finished, Tony came up next.
Yeah.
And you're saying immediately afterwards, he started saying racist stuff towards Asians targeted at you.
Well, yeah, the first thing he said, I think, I gave him an intro. He walked up on stage. We shook hands, and then he grabbed the mic. He goes, "Hey, how about one more time for this filthy fucking chink?" That was the first thing. I think that was the first thing that came out of his mouth.
And then he kind of rode that?
Yeah, and he was calling the crowd race traitor. It was a bunch of white people. They're like, "Oh, you laughing at that? I don't even want to talk to you. Are you a race traitor?"
He was calling the white people in the crowd race traitors?
Yeah.
Why? Because they were laughing at your jokes?
Yeah.
Well, why are they a race traitor if they're laughing at your jokes?
I guess maybe he might have felt offended. I had some jokes about white people.
So it was like a retaliation, kind of like, okay, you say stuff about my people, I'm going to say stuff about your people.
Right.
Did you go in like that? Was it like equal?
No.
An eye for an eye kind of thing? Or was it?
No, I was not. Like, if you watch my set, it's so on YouTube. If you ever watch my set, my stuff was pretty mild. My stuff was not aggressive at all.
Okay.
I was talking about not like all white people in a sense. I was talking about how like I had a friend who is immigrant from a basketball player from Slovakia, and because he's white, he acts like he's better than other immigrants, but then he also doesn't speak much English. So I was making fun of him, that specific person. Yeah, I think throughout the whole set, I also talked about the shooting in Atlanta, because that just happened. That was last year. That just happened. And I was talking about the protests we did in the Stop Asian Hate protest we did in Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing that I see was like super offensive to white people. Like if you're not a racist white person, you shouldn't be offended.
Tony called them race raiders, so I would assume you had a pretty good set.
Yeah, I think
like the crowd seemed to buy into your jokes.
Yeah.
Okay, so Tony comes on. Do you think he said it from a point of view where he felt like I'm being funny, he's being true to the art of comedy? Like, hey, we're just out here having a good time, we're shooting the shit? Or do you feel like he's a racist? Or like, did he look at you and goes, you know what, fuck this chink?
Yeah.
Or was he more like, you know what, I got something for you, man. Like, you know, you want to roast my people? I got you. I'm going to roast you back.
Well, I don't know. I think it's... I don't know. It's hard to guess his intention, right? But I just felt like, you know, you can roast me, you can say stuff, you can make jokes, but where's the joke, right? We're just saying filthy fucking chink. That's not funny.
He just kind of repeated that, but in different ways the whole time? Or was there actually a punchline somewhere?
I'm not talking about the rest of the set, right? The rest of the set, of course, was, if you watch it, it was all about shitting on Chinese people, eating bats, and you know, like, oh, the flying soup, whatever. I recall some of it, but the stuff that I had, the part I have the most problem with is the racial slur. Is obviously, you know, the personal attack and the racial slur.
Okay.
And there was no joke behind it. It was like straight up attack.
Being Asian myself, obviously, I totally understand that. I've been the butt of the joke. Here in New York, the people I hung out with weren't Asians, and I would get a lot of Asian jokes, some of what you're saying. Hey, Bruce Lee, fried dumplings, ching chong, you know, them pretending to know how to speak Asian. We all had that.
Yeah.
Going real in on me. And then the next minute, hey, Will, you want to come eat with us?
Right.
Hey, Will, you want to go play basketball? And it was more, I understood, even though I'm not saying it's acceptable, because it didn't feel good when I was being roasted, but I understood for them, it came from a place of, yo, Will, we're just having some fun, man.
Right.
And you call me rice and beans, you can call me a hick, you can call me like whatever, we don't care, it's within us, we're boys. So I was like, cool, man. But it didn't make me feel good, but I understood the whole, just guys being guys kind of thing, right? At that time.
Right.
But if anyone else outside the group called me that, they were in trouble. Like my friends did not tolerate that for 1 minute. They were very protective of me in that sense.
Okay.
What is your relationship with Tony?
I've worked with him once. I think it was like a year ago. 2 years from now, a year from when the incident happened, a year from then, it was, we did a show together in Dallas, near Dallas. It was a one-night show, and I had opened up for him. I hosted the show. He had his opener. I hosted his show. We had some conversation. We had interaction. He knows me. And then I saw him in Austin during that trip, but it was a show before that show. I went to watch him and Joe Rogan. Like, we ran into each other, said hi.
There with Joe Rogan?
Yeah, he was opening up for Joe Rogan. I was at I was there watching the show, but I ran into him. I just said hi. But yeah, no, we're not.
So you guys aren't close?
we're not friends at all.
And correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not a comedian.
Right.
That there's a type of freedom you should be allowed to have, that there shouldn't be a cancel culture with comedians.
Well, I think, I think you're free to say whatever you want, but you know, people are also free to respond the way they're going to do it. You know, so like, you know, I'm Jewish. I've heard people say anti-Semitic shit that's really fucking pissed me off, especially when I don't think it's funny. So that part I understand. So if it was a well-crafted racist joke, you might be like, all right, that was funny at least. Okay, I can understand that point of view. But for me, if someone says something on stage that makes me upset, I'm going to say something to them afterwards. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to confront them. Did you confront him about it?
All right, here is a detail that rarely anybody knows. So I mentioned that I watched him open up for Joe Rogan the night before, right? He was telling this joke about when he does, Asian joke. When he did Asian jokes, there was a Asian audience member confronted him, and he had a bodyguard. They threw him out of the club, and he called him a Chinese takeout, and he was bragging about it on stage, like as part of his joke, right?
Tony.
Yeah.
He had an Asian guy kicked out and called
he had an Asian guy kicked out because he didn't like it, and I was
wait, why did he have him kicked out?
Well, because he didn't like his joke. He confronted him. The Asian guy confronted him.
So Tony didn't feel safe.
Tony had a big bodyguard. He walks around with a bodyguard. They threw him out of the club.
Okay.
And he made fun of him and called him like a Chinese takeout.
This is before your incident.
This is before my incident. So I already knew, confronting him is not going to change anything. He's going to call you a fucking pussy, and he's going to, oh, why are you so sensitive? It's not going to change anything.
Right.
Yeah. With that, because I heard that joke and I walked outside. All these other comedians are like talking to me. Hey, did you hear that joke? That was so funny, man. That really happened, right? That really happened. That was just a couple of weeks ago. The Chinese couple, they really pissed off and they kicked them out. I was like, wow, that is terrible. Why are you bragging about it? I don't think he would listen. My point is, if with the previous incident, I didn't think he would listen to me.
I mean, but it's different between an audience member and another comic talking to you, right?
Right, and even when he said what he said, I still didn't, interrupt his set. I was still being respectful, because he was on stage. He's the person with the mic. I didn't interrupt. I didn't pull a Will Smith on him,
But he didn't interrupt your set either, right?
No.
So it was fair,
right?
I'd say in that sense, right?
Because
he could have came up to you if he felt offended by something you said, but you said yours was super mild.
Yeah. Mine
I would have
is
to go
super
back and
mild.
listen to your set.
Yeah, you. I think only the super racist white people would get offended by my set. Here's the thing, I've always been doing comedy in Texas, and Texas is like conservative, right? Or at least in Dallas, it's a mixed crowd. So you cannot go like super hard on white people. You always gotta balance. You always gotta find your balance. You can't like go super.
That's
hard.
like going to Chinatown and going hard on the same Asian jokes.
Right. And there's no way my jokes are that offensive to white people. No way.
So you ended up uploading a video of like his rant, right?
Well, somebody else uploaded it first, because I didn't record it.
So it was an audience member that recorded it?
There's an audience member that recorded it.
Yeah, how did we get viral? How did we get there? So you felt uncomfortable, and you're saying, so take me through this. You felt uncomfortable, and then somebody else in the audience recorded that, probably Asian person, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
And then they uploaded it and probably tagged you on it? How did you become aware of it? Or was it one of your friends?
There was somebody, I'm not going to mention names, somebody uploaded it on Chinese social media first, and it got...
Was it your friend, or was it a random audience member?
No, that's a friend of mine.
Okay.
She uploaded on Chinese social media first.
Did you know she was going to do it?
Yeah, I mean, she was just
She was outraged.
very, very outraged.
She wanted-
She was like, yo, I'm gonna do it. I don't care if you do it or not. I'm gonna do it. And
How did you feel about that when she told you she was going to do it before? Because you must have known that it's going to stir the pot.
I don't. To be honest, I didn't think it was gonna go viral. I didn't think at all, because she posted it, and then somebody else, like I guess, recorded the screen or, posted on, Instagram and tagged Tony on it before I even posted anything. So I was like, you know what? They already did it. I can't chicken out on it because it's already out. It's better that I just do it from my account, so I just did it.
A lot of people may push back on that. And I think I saw something on one of these podcasts that were talking about you. And they said, and they were comedians, and they're like, that guy, he broke the comedic code, man. I'm sure you've heard that too. Like, you're not supposed to do that to other comedians, right? And they said that you did that for your 5 minutes of fame. What do you say to those people?
Well, fuck them, first of all. Whoever said that, fuck them. And also, think about my situation, right? I am an immigrant from China. I came here to do, to go to college, to get a job, and then I fell in love with comedy. I came here to pursue my dreams, and I am nobody. The night before I wanted to post a clip, I lost sleep. I was like, if I do this, my career is over.
That's what I was thinking. And Josh, I know you and I were talking earlier today. Isn't that career suicide? What Peng did? Like,
yeah, dude,
because
in my position, I have no.
Wouldn't they blacklist you from the top venues?
I'm sure.
That's
he just did The Cellar, so obviously not, right?
Obviously by certain circles, but
my question to you is, what did you expect to happen, and what did you want to happen?
I felt, after the show, I left Austin, went back to Dallas. I felt ashamed, actually. I felt ashamed because, I felt like I couldn't defend myself.
Which part did you feel ashamed? When Tony was going after you live?
Yeah.
Or uploading the video, or both?
No. Just the fact that he said that and nobody was on my side, and I didn't speak out. I couldn't speak out.
At the moment, audience, no one was on your side.
Yes. And they were all laughing. I felt ashamed, and I also felt, felt bad for the person that he kicked out, because he did it to a fellow Asian person, and that was during the, when Asian hate was at its peak, and it was all over the news, and they still did what they did. I felt like that was unacceptable, and I feel like if I don't do anything, this is just gonna keep happening. He can do that to me. He's gonna do it to any other Asian comics.
There's another comedian. It's a Korean.
Hans Kim, yeah.
They seem to be good friends there.
Well,
is that just pure business, or
after the incident?
So you're saying
after
that
the incident,
Tony's friends with Hans publicly only because
just to
I guess
even
damage
out
control to show, hey, look, I'm not racist. This is my Asian friend. Is that what you're saying?
Well, you said it. I mean,
Okay.
that when you look.
No, I'm asking a question. I don't know
I can
Tony.
only present the timeline because I don't know him personally, and
Okay.
I don't want to attack another Asian comedian and another Asian person. But you look at the timeline, right? He almost right after the incident, he got hired as a regular on the podcast.
Well, he's a funny dude, Hans. Right?
Yeah, I don't want to take anything away from Hans. I watched some of his set.
okay.
He's pretty funny.
Funny guy.
Yeah.
Like, I think he's.
I still have that question. So, like, what did you expect or hope to happen when you put that video out?
Well, I just felt like I need to speak out. If I don't do that, he's gonna do it to another Asian person.
So you were hoping it would stop him from doing that again?
Yeah.
And do you mean like stop him completely from doing comedy?
No, I mean stop him from using Asian racial slur
Has
on
he?
stage. I don't know. I don't
I
think
don't know,
he's.
has he?
I don't think he wants to do that.
Did Tony get canceled
Well,
because
he's
of
still
that?
doing comedy. He's still doing comedy. He's still doing his podcast. And he's still touring with Joe Rogan. So I don't think he's canceled. But yeah.
Is that what you wanted to happen? Did you want Tony to get canceled because of that?
No. I didn't think. Like I said, I thought my career was over before I posted the video. I thought my career is gonna be over. But you know what? I'm from China. I'm just gonna pack up my shit and just leave the country. Though I already determined to do that. So nothing could stop me at that point. I didn't care, But I just want to get it out and maybe
Do you have
people stop doing that.
Do you have an opinion on like cancel culture and like that whole concept that's going on?
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you think of it?
I gotta respect, freedom of speech, right? But freedom of speech is not freedom from consequences. I mean, he's not putting in jail. He's not because he said what he said. So
Right.
there's freedom of speech.
Okay.
But there's also consequences, right? If you show that side of you to the public,
Right.
there's consequences.
Now, Josh, how would you feel if Tony did the same thing, but to your culture,
Like
the
I said,
Jewish culture? Like
it
if he
happens.
If he like right after your set, you were saying some things, and Tony went up there, and maybe he may look at it from an innocent point of view, right? I'm
Right.
just being a comedian. I'm
Right.
roasting another comedic brother, and there's no lines that you can't cross, and
Right.
I'm just gonna go all out. Here it is.
I got to say, doing comedy in New York City has given me a thicker skin because we do roast battles. We say the worst shit in the world about people. Like
Yeah, but that's
horrible-
roast battle. You can talk back.
But
you
to
can
me,
talk back to the
to
person.
me, any banter between two comics is always going to be a roast battle.
Right,
That's
right.
just how it is. The way you shoot the shit with fellow comics, you bust their balls, you
And
push the line.
that's exactly what I was gonna ask you guys. New York City, I've seen a lot of freestyle rap battles where, especially if there's an Asian rapper, and they go all in on the Asian rapper. And usually when there's an Asian rapper and they go face to face on a freestyle battle where they're dissing each other, talking about, it's always like low hanging fruit. Asian jokes here. It's really not that difficult. It's old shit, and for us, when we hear it, we go, well, there's something I haven't heard before. It's all like, it's weak,
Right.
And then whereas the other rapper comes and just slays it and
Right.
able to get them back in a roast battle. Now in comedy, is it the same way where there's really no lines where you could say whatever you want, or is there actually a line where you shouldn't cross? Just between comedians,
Right.
like rapper to rapper, freestyle, you could say whatever as long as it hits. Is comedy the same way? Can you
Well,
say anything as long as it hits?
Let me ask you: do the Asian rappers usually say the N-word?
No.
See, there's a line. There is a line.
So you're saying there's a double standard. There's a line
Right.
for other people, but there's no.
Exactly.
But the lines like push back further for Asians.
Exactly.
Josh,
Exactly.
you agree or disagree with that?
I don't think you can synonymize rap with comedy that easily. I don't think it's the same thing. I think with comedy, it's a term of endearment. I think when you're really close to another comic, to be able to say the most awful things in the world to them. Like I say, to Kevin Sanchez. Kevin's an abortion survivor. I talk about him surviving abortions and then his mother throwing him in the garbage.
Yeah, but that's your boy. You guys are roommates. You guys are close.
But we were comedians first before we were that
Right.
close, and that's like how we got close. So like when I saw the video of when Tony went off, honestly, from my point of view, I'd be like, I would feel like, oh wow, cool, I'm one of the guys. I mean, I obviously don't live in your shoes, so I don't know what it feels like to hear those words from your end. From my end, I was like, I'd be like, oh, cool, he's busting my balls. I just had a good set on stage. It's elevating the crowd further. I think you came there that night. You already had an opinion of him, though, right?
There's nothing. Well, that's not fair. First of all, because nothing I think about him was gonna affect what he did to me, right? And nothing I think of him was gonna affect what I did on stage. Yeah, I did.
But what I'm saying is, like, it looked like you could see it about to boil over because you were like, he picked on an Asian audience member the week before, and
right.
some, like so.
And also our interaction.
So were you I feel like, were you expecting to come to a head with him? Like it was inevitable?
No. I didn't know. Like I said, I didn't know he was gonna be on the same show.
Right.
But I saw him the night before. He didn't seem particularly friendly.
Right.
He didn't. There's other comedians. Hey, you remember Peng? It's like, yeah, we already talked. He acted like he doesn't want to talk to me.
So what I mean is, when inevitable, like you thought in your head, like eventually one day me and this guy are gonna come to a head. Like you felt like you were on bad standing with him.
No.
I didn't.
I didn't. I just thought, okay, he's not my friend. He already made it clear he's not my friend.
So that I guess that's, to me, I would consider that bad standing if you're not a friend.
Oh, okay.
Because why should you not be friends with someone you don't even know?
Well, no. I mean, you have coworkers, right? Just because you work with each other doesn't mean you're friends.
That's true.
Right? There's work relationship. I hosted his show a year ago, one night. That was a work relationship, professional, right? That doesn't mean I'm sure I want to kiss his ass. I wanted. He's a bigger comedian. I want to like be close to him, but if he's like showing his boundary, and I'm like, okay, cool.
You're not going to sweat him.
Yeah.
You're not going to sweat him.
I'm not going to sweat.
You felt like he drew the line, and that he has this air of where he was unapproachable to you, and that's how you felt.
Right.
That he indirectly showed that, and that's what you kind of extrapolated. But at the same time, I don't know if that's fair to Tony, right? Because he never said, "Yo, Peng, get the fuck away, fuck you," right? So
but you can get the vibe. You can get the vibe. I'm old enough. I'm 37. I'm old enough to tell if somebody wants to talk to you or not, right? But that's okay. It's acceptable. He's a bigger comedian. He didn't want to be friends with me. That's fine. But don't do that and then later say, "Oh, we're friends." He said some.
We were friends.
He's told
Why
some
would you do
lies.
that?
He's told some lies.
What lies did he tell?
Yeah, it's like, oh well, he's like my favorite. He was like my opener. I gave him so much. He's been going around telling people, oh, I've given him so much work. He was my one of the first pick I had for as my opener. We were so close. I've done so much to him, and he backstabbing me. That's not true at all. If we had relationship like that, if I was friends with him, I would probably just I wouldn't take it as seriously. I wouldn't, when if he said, I wouldn't take it as seriously.
Just rewinding a bit, you're saying you can't really equate it to rap, right? Where people can use certain languages and certain type of people and certain they can't, right? Where someone else use it, it's a bit of a double standard. Would Tony be able, as a comedian, be able to say that about, I guess, gay people, homosexuals, or would he be able to say that against blacks?
I don't think so.
Would he be able to say that against Jews?
You could definitely say it against Jews. People do it all the time.
Okay.
Yeah, of course. Jews
so you're saying they could say it against Jews, but for some reason they can't say it against homosexuals, and they can't say it against blacks?
It all depends on the comedian.
What he said, you filthy...
filthy little fucking chink.
Okay, would he be able to say you filthy N-word? Would he be able to say you filthy K-word? Would he be able to say you filthy F-word?
It all depends on the room. It depends on the connection between the comedians. It depends on the vibe. When I was reading, because I only got caught up to the incident with you a couple days ago, and when I was reading the replies, what they said was that you edited the video, so you just took like the worst parts, and you didn't upload your set before.
Why would I?
Because what they're saying is everything is contextual. So they're saying if you watch it in its entirety, then it fits and it's less racist.
So wow. So what is it in my set that justify what he said?
I'm not saying that I believe that. I'm saying what the people think.
Well,
so what was said, I think what Josh is saying is what's going around on the other side, right? You have one side that's saying Tony's a dick, he's a racist, cancel him, right? And then you have the other side say, Peng is a cloud chaser. He edited the video to make it seem so he's playing the victim here.
First of all, the person who recorded the video he was recording my set, and he forgot to turn it off, and it caught the beginning of his stuff, so it didn't catch everything he said. And you put it on if you upload something on Reel, that's 60 seconds. You can't put my whole 10-minute stuff. That's not what I want to show. It's that part of the set that I had the most problem with. So by editing, I cut it down. I mean, I don't see any problem with that.
You cut it down?
I didn't modify what he said, right? It's not like he didn't say chink. I put the chink into his mouth. I deep faked his face. No.
Right. Did you take different parts and edit?
No.
To make
it was
seem
exactly what he said.
You just edit right where the reel cuts off.
Yeah. That was
you just cut off the rest of his set.
Yeah.
You just let him go on.
I didn't have the rest of his set. First of all, I didn't have the rest of his set because the audience member recorded my set and didn't turn off the camera when he walks on.
You just picked up from where Tony started and where you ended.
Sure. There's
and wherever the reel stopped at 60 seconds. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. When you put it that way, when you say edit, it doesn't mean I ducked the video, right? I edit meaning I cut out the part from my set. And also, there's nothing. Well, you can watch the video. It's already out online. There's nothing I said justify. I don't think that justify it because I didn't call him, "Hey, Tony Hinchcliffe, you filthy fucking cracker." Right. I didn't say that. I didn't say all white people are bad. I didn't say all white people are racist.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Do you think if your set would have been different, hypothetically, you had different material and you hadn't touched on anything about race at all, do you think he would have done the same thing when he got on?
Yeah, that you have to ask that question to him.
Well, what do you think? Do you think he would have done the same thing?
Well, he was still gonna do Asian people eat bad stuff. He was still gonna do.
Is that like in his repertoire? Is that his normal?
That was his.
So then
that was the
set
set he's been working on. That's the set he's been working on.
So that itself also is very upsetting to you. That joke.
I didn't like that he's bragging about kicking out a Chinese person from the audience, but it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't affect me professionally. I can still, because let's say I was mad, but I still gave him a warm intro, right? The one and only, right. Blah blah blah, super hilarious, blah blah blah, right? It doesn't affect what I do on stage. I'm a professional. I gotta. Do my job.
Right.
It wouldn't affect me.
Right.
Yeah. His regular routine wouldn't have affected me.
Did you want from this video to people to be like outraged and like to cut him off?
I think I'm defending myself because nobody was defending me, and I wanted to, if I guess I think people won't, at least when they try to do it, comedians try to do it, they'll think twice before they use the Asian racial slur, right?
Did you think about maybe reaching out to him directly, sending him the video and being like, hey, you want to talk about this? It was a little offensive to me.
I didn't think it would matter. I didn't think it would change his mind.
And now you feel like afterwards Tony's doing damage control? Where he said like, hey, I gave you a lot of opportunities. You were ungrateful, and then you turned it and flipped it on me.
Yeah.
And hey, look at my friends Hans Kim. And that's what you're saying, right? Look at my friends Hans Kim, I'm not. And that's the damage control that, in your point of view, is occurring.
Yeah.
Did he really give you all those opportunities? I mean, because
like
there should be like a ledger of it, right?
We worked with each other once before that. And it was one show at the Hyenas Comedy Club. You can ask around. The club booker put me on the show, and he already booked me months ahead of time. I already knew I was gonna host the New Year's Eve show, but I didn't know they didn't have a confirmed headliner yet. I didn't
so
know
Tony's never done anything for you.
He had no
for your career. And you're saying that now he's saying that he did. that you were on your way because of him.
Well, he make it seem like he's giving me so much opportunity. He asked for me to open for him. He asked for me to do this. He never did.
You're saying he just happened upon it.
Right. Well, because I was on the roster for that comedy club,
Right.
and the opener, the booker, that book's opener, put me on the show months ahead of time. I already knew I was going to do New Year's Eve show. They haven't had a confirmed headliner yet, and it just happened to him. Just happened to be him. We just worked one night.
Right.
Yeah, and I was previously on. He has a Kill Tony show. He did a Texas version of that. He did it in Texas, and they draw a name out of the hat, and they call a comedian on. Everyone does like 1 minute. I did that, and that was the first time I ever met him.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe he was referring to that as giving you a break?
Well, he's definitely, if he was, he's definitely exaggerating that. But yeah.
Why do you think he's exaggerating that to make it seem like he's giving you opportunities? How does that? So it makes him look like the good guy and you ungrateful?
Yeah.
So now you're calling him a liar, but do you think he's a racist?
What do you think?
Me being a regular Asian guy, right? If I see something like that, it's gonna rile me up. I'm gonna get tight because if I'm looking at something out of context and I'm just seeing a clip of someone on stage saying crazy things about Asians, I'm gonna get hot inside. I'm like, whoa, like, yo, that's not even funny. There was no punchline. But if I'm not looking at the whole set, I'm not seeing what happened prior, and I'm not seeing after, then again, I'm just kind of have a tunnel vision. I'm almost being manipulated to look at it this way and being shown like, hey, I want you to think of it like this. So that said,
so why didn't you?
But if I'm a comedian,
watch the video. Why didn't you watch the video before the podcast?
I did see your video when it first came out, and I did only see from your point of view, and then I did hear about Tony's point of view and other comedians, and then I spoke to Josh about it. I wanted to understand first before I come up to any conclusion, right? I think a lot of people on the podcast, they want to hear your side. People that might have looked at you like, oh, did he do it for clout? Or somebody else that looked at you like, hey man, right on, Peng, thanks for standing up for us, right? So, but what I wanted to look at it, I wanted to listen to your story first.
Okay.
And understand everything, but I also wanted to see what it's like from a comedian standpoint.
Josh is on a mutual stand. I think his opinion is very mutual. Where if you ask me, you're not gonna get the most objective.
Well, I think the thing people don't know about comedians is that they're probably some of the most sensitive people in the world.
Yeah.
And I think you're really, really hurt by this situation. Like I can see there's pain over like this whole situation. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the not to mention the aftermath, right? Because I call him out. I'm sure he had a pretty rough, week or a couple months. But throughout the year, it's been over a year. I'm still getting hate comments. I'm still getting death threats. It's like kill yourself, fucking chink. Kill yourself, fucking chink. On my DM, on my Instagram. Every day I'm still dealing with it, and I want to be over with it. Actually, I think we've talked about it a lot already, and it's an incident that happened a year ago. Most people already forgot about it.
But that's crazy that you're getting death threats from that.
I've screenshot too.
Why would you get death threats? I mean, a year later,
because people are fucking retarded on the internet.
That's wild. A year later.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Seeing the aftermath of what happened and like the whole shit that went down since, would you do it the same way again?
Yeah, I didn't have any regret.
Even with the death threats and the harassment, like you had to do it.
Right. I had to do the week I posted thing, my Instagram, my Facebook account was hacked. I had to take it back. Somebody from Louisiana hacked into my account, social media accounts. And I was worried for my friends. I was worried for people that supported me. And not to mention, they're saying cancel culture. But the comedians that stood up for me and spoke out for me were also getting reprimanded by the crew.
So you're saying that they got blacklisted?
Yeah.
So anyone that took your side?
Yeah. This is absolutely true. I don't want to mention the name, but I know people that like tweeted about me and just showing support for me. They got booked for certain shows, and they're like, "Sorry, we can't book you."
Other Asian comedians?
They're not Asians particularly, but yeah, they were my friends.
And they were like, yeah, what he did was wrong.
Right.
And whoa.
Yeah.
I mean,
well,
Josh, is that normal in the...
To get blacklisted?
Yeah.
Well, comedy, just like everything else, is a buddy club. You know, it's like who you're friends with, what group you're friends with, who you get along with. That's who you're going to do shows with. So, you know, if one person in the group feels slighted, they might take retribution if you associate with those people.
And it's a small world, as you was telling me, right? Because
Yeah.
when I told you that I was going to have another comedian on the show, you're like, oh, I probably know him or have mutual friends with him, right?
Yeah.
So it's a small world. Now, Josh, you have friends that probably took Tony's side.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And when they watch this podcast, they're going to probably be mad that you're not
What?
going at Peng.
What I'm supposed to attack him?
Like, if they're taking Tony's side, like, they're going to be like, hey, you know.
You know, it's
Now, when you get, I don't want to get you blacklisted now.
Nobody lets me in anywhere anyway. It's hard to come in here and like want to be aggressive towards Peng because I see how much pain he's
that's what I'm
really in.
saying.
Like you're hurt by this, dude. Like you seem like you know, I don't know what it's like to go through it. I mean, I guess it's similar to getting like your whole image destroyed, you know, and this is your dream. I mean, you love comedy, right?
Yeah.
Do you still love comedy? Has it taken away your pleasure from it? Because I could see it. I could see you very, you know, like.
No, I love it. I still do it. I never stopped. I never let it stop me.
Right.
I mean, you said earlier that you were going to pack up and go back to China. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't think there's comedy like that where you're from, is there?
Yeah, there's comedy in China.
Like that where you're from, I guess?
Yeah. There's comedy, stand-up comedy in China is a pretty big deal now. Is it?
It's
on national TV. There's not a lot of comedians, you know, people that have done it for like 6 years, 7 years are considered veterans in China.
Really?
Yes. A huge money, big money in the industry.
In China?
In China, yes. People love stand-up comedy in China. They'll go to like comedy clubs, theaters, and watch stand-up comedy. And they don't drink. They don't even drink. They just sit there and listen. They're such good listener. They still have a good time. They don't drink and still have a good time. I mean, there's some of them probably do, but like from what I heard, they would go there and just have a good time.
Now, do they do it in Mandarin or?
Yeah, it's mostly Mandarin. Yeah.
Oh wow! So you're saying it's been popular in China for only like 5, 6, 7 years?
Yes.
Are they limited in what they can and cannot say?
Sure.
So there's a big filter.
Of
Like
course.
you're gonna have to. I mean, there's filters in America too. I'm not gonna.
Well, in America, if you go over the line, then you lose, you know, sponsorships and you lose gigs and stuff like that. But can you see how like doing comedy in China, you just said there's going to be filters. Like you're not allowed to say certain things.
Yeah.
So could you see how like comics here could be upset about you saying you can't say something?
Yeah, of course. I mean, like I said, freedom of speech. But you can criticize. I appreciate the freedom of speech I have here. You know, you can openly criticize the government. You can openly criticize, you know, anything. There's no, but there's also like consequences, right?
Right.
You can't like we're talking about for my situation, right? It's you're making me feel unsafe. That's a work environment. That's my job. That's my work environment. I had to be there not because I like you, but because this is my job. They like to talk about, oh, what about the safe space? We want to have a safe space for comedy. But what about the safe space for people who work there? That's my work environment.
Do you get people try to downplay you, like, oh, why are you so sensitive? Why are you being such a little pussy? Yo, man up. You know, that toxic type of masculinity, toxic masculinity.
You're asking if that happens.
I'm asking both of you, right? Do you guys get that? Like when someone says something and it offends you, are they going to go, oh, look at you being so soft?
I've always, in the couple occasions where there was a comedian who went up and he did some shit that I just didn't think was funny, and it like, I felt it was over the line with me, and then I would come up to them after and let them know how I feel. I always regretted it the next day. I was always like, why didn't I just shut up? I was like, you know what?
Why?
Because you know what?
Feel like you're being a quote unquote bitch?
Because comedy is really about you. It's you and what you're doing. It's you and the show that you're gonna put on. It's your path. It's where you're going. To focus and give a shit about like what some other comic's saying and like give it your energy, to me, I always felt like that was a waste of my energy. I should have just I'll probably see that guy 2-3 more times this year, and like I won't even look at him, you know. So like, I don't know. I'd rather have comics be able, you know, to say things that are going to hurt my feelings than to be offended and think that, you know what, I don't want to hear that and say that to somebody. Like, I'd rather them say it and then look like an asshole and me think that they're an asshole, but at least I'm not silencing them.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the timing was a big thing too, because, you know, last year Asian hate crime was
still now, man.
It's still now, and it affected me as an Asian person. It affected me like mentally.
But
too.
you're coming right off the bat of the coronavirus, us being blamed for it, Asian Americans, and also the Atlanta shootings.
Yeah, that was because the Atlanta shooting was March last year, and my show happened in May, so it was right there. It was right there. The timing was very, very bad. You don't. Yeah, sure, you can make fun of someone's dead parents, but not right after they just died, right?
So too soon.
It was. Yeah, and I mean, I think the timing makes it even worse. But let's. Can we? One more question about?
Oh no! I was already moving forward. I think
let's move on.
Forward with China comedy.
Okay, yeah. Let's stop circling back to this.
I didn't circle back to it, but as you guys went in, I just kind of went along with. Like you said, we're not scripted here.
My fault. All right.
You leaned back into that, so I was like, if you want to keep talking about it,
I think most people already forgot. Even comedians, like they don't know who you are.
Apparently not to the ones that's sending you death threats, though.
Those probably aren't comedians.
Oh.
Those are just some losers sitting by a computer.
You feel at this point you're getting booked. You're in New York City. Mm-hmm. You're going through. I guess, are you touring around right now?
No, just doing spots at the Comedy Cellar and a couple other spots in New York City. But I'm still based in Dallas, Texas.
Do you plan on making New York City your home, where you want to further your career?
I don't know yet. I'm thinking about it. I don't know yet. I've always wanted to move to LA though. I love the weather in LA, California.
Yeah, I feel like if you're in this realm, you're not going. This is not going to be the last time someone's going to make an Asian joke. That's what I feel like. Like Jewish jokes. Like if you kind of, I think it's just part of people's set sometimes, or if they just have a good joke, they just have to tell it.
Yeah, if it's good, I'm not against it. If it's good, I'm not against it. Like
Russel Chappelle's has some great stuff on these, and I've laughed at it.
Yeah, Russell Peters does a great Chinese accent. It was on point. Like I can't even do that.
Russell Peters actually had an incredible amount when I was in college. So many people. He came to my university, and all the Asians from the frats to the sororities rushed to see Russell Peters, and I don't know if you ever heard of him before.
Of course, yeah.
But he's like,
he's got
you can Asian
tell,
jokes, but it's hilarious.
Yeah. Right.
He's
but
like
you can tell he grew up with Asian people in Vancouver.
And I get what you mean. Like it didn't sound like a place from hate.
Right.
It was more like it was endearing.
Yeah.
Almost. But then like he found the funny stuff about that culture.
Yeah.
And he'll just kind of bring it out and make a caricature out of it.
Yeah. And here's a story. When I don't know if you remember Russel Peters' joke about Chinese language. It's like being when when the Cantonese speak English, it's very short. It's like, you don't say nothing big, right? Like I thought it was just a makeup term. Don't say nothing big.
Yeah.
And the other day, one time I heard my coworker making a phone call, and she's Cantonese. She's like, "Don't say nothing big." I'm like, holy shit, that you guys actually say that? It's like when you're friends with so many Asian people, and you know like the nuances of their culture, and that's so funny to me.
He did that with, I mean, that's his thing. He did that with Jamaicans. He grew up with Jamaicans, and it was brilliant. And Russians. I mean, he's so talented.
I didn't know he was from Queens.
Huh? He grew up in Vancouver, I think. Somewhere in Canada.
Right.
I think it's Vancouver. If you have to do if you want to do Asian joke, do it by all means. But have like very specific observation and know the nuances of our culture, right?
Like earn it.
Yeah.
Let's make it funny at the very least.
Right. Don't be like, oh, Asian guys eat dogs. I mean, it's been done how many decades?
Lucky Boys Podcast.